It's 2018 and we are back. Woo! What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Jill and it is 2018, first video of 2018. I am so excited for everything that's coming to my channel this year. I have so many new ideas. I really tried to take in a bunch of feedback that I asked for the last month and create basically a new idea for what I want this channel to be. So I hope that you guys are really excited, and we are kicking off this year with a little advice video about how I managed to move to Los Angeles when I was only 19 years old. So I asked you guys on Instagram to ask me a bunch of questions, and I'm just going to go through them and answer as many as I can. Okay, let's do this. First question: when moving there, did you know anyone who was in LA, or did you have to make friends with everyone? Love your vids so much. Thank you. Love you so much. So when I moved here, I literally didn't know anyone who lived in LA, but I did move here to go to college, and so I did my last 2 years of college here that I had left to get my bachelor's, and so that's how I made friends in the beginning. And then obviously also, as my YouTube channel grew, I got more connected to the YouTube community and started to become friends with people who were in that community also. I definitely recommend, if you're not going to school, to get involved somehow. Even like getting a job somewhere where lots of young people work, you can probably make some friends that way. Would you have moved to LA if you didn't do YouTube? Actually, I didn't move to LA because I did YouTube, so yes. YouTube really didn't factor into whether I was going to move to LA or not, because when I moved to LA, I only had around 30,000 subscribers, which I guess is still a significant number, but it wasn't enough for me to like live off of or anything. So that's not really why I moved here. I moved here because I'm an actress and I wanted to pursue that, and I wanted to go to my school out here. Do you ever miss your family and or friends? So I want to do a whole video about like homesickness and stuff like that. But yes, of course, I miss my family every day, but I also talk to them on the phone every single day. As for friends, like I definitely don't have as many friends back home in New Jersey as I did when I left, just because you can only keep in touch with so many people. Everyone gets busy. But I still have a couple really close friends in New Jersey that I keep really good touch with, and of course I miss them all the time. When it comes down to it, when you see those people who are really important to you in your life again after like months of not seeing each other, maybe even of speaking, it should just click back into exactly how it always was, and that's how you know who your true friends are anyway. How hard was it on your own first, and how do you keep yourself financially? So YouTube is my full-time job now, but it is really stressful because I pay for everything in my life here completely by myself. The only things that my parents still pay for are car insurance and my phone bill, I believe. I think that is it. But everything else I pay for, and it really is a huge expense living in LA. It can be really, really tough. I'm not gonna lie. But it's all about just budgeting your money, and if you want me to do a full video about how I budget and make sure that I'm financially stable, I would be happy to do that. How did you tell your parents you were going to move out? I'm going to be 21 this year, and my parents still won't let me move out. Love you. Love you. So honestly, my parents were totally fine with me moving out, especially since I was moving out like to go to school. I feel like that's a pretty normal thing that happens when people go to school. But also my parents' philosophy on this was always like, of course they would love to have me closer to them, and I would love to be closer to them also. But they always felt like I had to go off and create a life for myself, and that it didn't help them or me by them holding me back. So I guess really I would just talk to your parents about why they don't want you to move out and see if there are like legitimate reasons or what it is. Like if it comes down to like being financially stable or stuff like that, and then maybe you have some goals to work towards, and you guys can figure out a plan for when you can move out. Did your parents help you financially? Again, I sort of touched on this already, but in the beginning, yes, definitely. I also had student loans that helped pay for my housing, so that was like what really paid my rent. But my parents definitely helped pay for a lot more things when I first moved out here compared to now. There's actually a lot of questions on here about money and finances and stuff like that. So seriously, if you guys want me to do a full video on that, make sure you let me know. Are all the LA apartments super expensive, or are there some places that are pretty reasonable? So it is a big city, and so, you know, it is harder to find an affordable place. The first place I ever lived in, it was a 2-bedroom. I lived there with myself and 2 other people. I had my own room and they shared a room, and I paid $750 a month for that place. It was perfectly nice. There was nothing wrong with it. So obviously the best way to save money is to have roommates. My first apartment by myself, which was just a small little studio in this older building, was $950 a month. And honestly, that's really, really reasonable for the size apartment that I had. If you're planning on living by yourself, I would budget like minimum $1,000 a month. And that's gonna be for like a small apartment that's not like the nicest ever. Like it may not look super modern or whatever. I'm sure it'll be totally fine and clean, but like my first apartment by myself wasn't like gorgeous in some giant building or anything like that. But if you do wanna live in the nicer apartments that like you see a lot of YouTubers living in, yeah, that costs a pretty penny. Are you in LA for good or is it temporary? I am definitely in Southern California for good. Who knows if I'll end up living in LA for the rest of my life? My guess would be probably not. I would probably move a little outside of LA, or at least not like in the city. Like I would probably rather move to like Pasadena or somewhere more suburby when I get older. But I am definitely staying in Southern California like forever. Do you like living by yourself or with roommates more? So this is sort of a catch-22 because both of them have pros and cons. For example, I obviously loved living with Luke and Brendan so much. It was like the most fun time ever. We were just always hanging out, always chilling. You definitely save more money when you're sharing a place with people. I pay more than double in my place alone than what I was paying for just like my room in our house that we had. So like that part's really nice. But personally, I prefer living alone. I just can do my own thing. I can come and go as I please. It's easier for filming. Since I work at home, it's easier just to have like the place to myself where I can just work. But I'm also like super outgoing, like major extrovert. So I loved always having people around to hang out with. So, you know, 50-50, but I am really happy that I made the decision to live by myself. Were you ever scared to live on your own? So many crazy people, I feel like I would always walk with a taser in my hand, LOL. So no, I'm very rarely spooked out in my apartment, especially the building that I'm living in right now because there's super tight 24-hour security here. So I never really feel scared. I mean, obviously sometimes you like spook yourself out or you watch a scary movie or something, but obviously outside of my apartment, yeah, it can get sometimes a little sketchy, especially if you like are out somewhere and by the time you leave it's dark and you have to like walk home in the dark. You just have to like keep your wits about you, be really smart. For the most part, you just like ignore sort of any craziness that's happening. You just stay focused, keep walking, and just don't do anything stupid. And the last question I'm going to answer is sort of something that I already touched on a bit, but it says, is it better to move in with a roommate or can you find a place on your own? Love you, Jill. I love you. So I've already talked a little bit about the differences between those two things for me, but personally, I recommend moving in with a roommate when you first move here if you can. One, because it'll save you money, like I already talked about, but also you sort of then have like an immediate friend, someone who you can hang out with. And especially if you're not that social of a person, like for me, I'm so social that I'm always hanging out with people anyway, even though I live alone. But if you're less of a social person and you live alone, I just find that you're going to get trapped in like this little shell and you're never going to leave your apartment. You're not going to sort of create a life for yourself. So I definitely recommend if you're just moving to LA for the first time and you can find a roommate, I highly recommend doing it. And that's it for today's Q&A. I hope that you guys found this helpful. I hope that you moved to LA because it's very exciting over here. Moving to LA when I was only 19 was one of the scariest things that I've ever done, but it is the best decision I've made for myself in my whole entire life. And of course, this city isn't for everyone, but whenever someone says I'm thinking about moving to LA to me, I always say do it because it really is a super special city. I love you guys so much. Good luck with your upcoming move, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.